You're watching ABC 17 KMIZ, where the news comes first.
In the first 7 minutes on ABC 17 News at 6, right now a deadly crash on I-70 is causing dangerous conditions for drivers. We're live at the scene and have the latest on the second deadly crash caused by the stopped cars.
The Attorney General himself will be traveling to Ferguson on Wednesday to meet with the FBI agents and DOJ personnel conducting the federal criminal investigation.
And we continue to bring you the latest out of Ferguson. We'll tell you what President Obama had to say today about the unrest there over the police shooting of the unarmed teenager and what's next in the investigation.
And we are going to see that heat and humidity for the entire work week. I'll show you the temperatures and a look at our chance of thunderstorms for tonight, coming up in the first 7 minutes.
ABC 17 News at 6 on KMIZ starts now.
In a developing story right now, police are cleaning up a deadly crash scene that caused another deadly crash today on I-70. Good evening, I'm Joey Parker. The three-vehicle crash involving two semi-trucks happened around 11 this morning near mile marker 120. In that crash, one person was killed, two sent to the hospital. Just before our 5 o'clock newscast, we learned that backed-up traffic caused another crash, killing another person on the road near mile marker 111. ABC 17's Dan Messino is live on I-70 with the latest on the traffic. And Dan, how does it look out there?
Joey, I'm here at exit 111 on Interstate 70. Now, as you can see, traffic is moving slowly, but it ebbs and flows. So it will move a little bit, and then it'll be backed up again and just remain at a standstill. Now, state trooper officials tell me this fatal accident is in the process of being cleaned up, but they were not able to confirm when it will be clear and when they'll be able to open up this part of the interstate. Now, the earlier fatal crash near the Midway exit is still blocking traffic also, and officials can't confirm when that will be cleared either. That crash involved two semis and a passenger vehicle, and in that crash, a semi caught fire, killing the driver inside, and two others in the passenger vehicle were taken to the hospital. Now, state troopers have not released a lot of the details about either one of these fatal crashes because of an ongoing investigation. We will bring you the latest as soon as it becomes available. Reporting live on Interstate 70 near exit 111, Dan Messino, ABC 17 News.
Dan Messino, thank you for that report. We'll have the latest on the traffic here on ABC 17, as well as our mobile app, Facebook, Twitter, and our website, of course, abc17news.com. The Missouri National Guard will join the police efforts to try to keep Ferguson peaceful tonight as law enforcement tries to figure out the best way to keep the peace there. The investigation into 18-year-old Michael Brown's death continues. Ferguson police officer Darren Wilson shot Brown, who was unarmed, on August 9th. Today, President Barack Obama spoke about the situation in the North St. Louis suburb. ABC 17's Lucas Geisler joins us now. And Lucas, Ferguson can expect to see the Attorney General this week.
Joey, the president announced just a few hours ago Attorney General Eric Holder will visit Ferguson on Wednesday. He'll catch up with community leaders as well as the FBI agents that are already in Ferguson conducting an investigation into Mike Brown's death. Now, late Sunday night, a private medical investigator released his autopsy of Michael Brown, showing Brown was shot 6 times with entry wounds in the front of his body. The Brown family asked for the independent autopsy after the state completed one last week. One of the medical examiners says there's more information needed to say completely what happened that afternoon.
One thing that people need to understand is when you are looking at an autopsy, you have the autopsy of the body and literally the autopsy of the crime scene. And the autopsy of the crime scene really hasn't been done yet.
The Ferguson police still have not released the shooting incident report. President Obama says the violence, though, that's become almost synonymous with Mike Brown's death is only damaging the situation. He says it undermines justice, something that the protesters have been calling for. Reporting live in the newsroom, Lucas Geisler, ABC 17 News.
Lucas, thank you. As far as policing tonight in Ferguson, the National Guard says it will simply help protect the police command center in Ferguson. Governor Nixon also got rid of the midnight curfew he introduced just a few days ago. And this afternoon, a Columbia man once charged with murder pleaded guilty to other charges. Joshua Murray and Nicholas Thomas were both charged with killing Travion Marshall in McKee Park last summer. In early July, Thomas was found guilty by a jury of being the man who actually killed Marshall. Today, in a plea deal, Murray pleaded guilty to assault and burglary. The state is recommending 10 years in prison. State Prosecutor Tracy Gonzalez tells us Marshall's family is in support of the deal. There is rain hanging around mid-Missouri that could start coming down tonight or tomorrow morning. ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Sharon Ray has the latest on that in your first full complete forecast. Sharon? Sharon, thank you. And new at 6 tonight, the Columbia City Council is considering repealing a 20-year-old law that allows disabled residents to park for free downtown. ABC 17's Lindsay Burning spoke to disabled advocates today who say the move is a good one. She joins us now from downtown Columbia. And Lindsay, it sounds like the move will actually create more disabled parking?
Yes, Joey, officials told me one reason the city is trying to add meters to handicapped parking spots is to increase accessibility. They plan to add 8 ADA spots on or just off of Broadway because only 2 exist on the street now. And adding meters could offset the cost.
The ADA doesn't require free parking for people with disabilities. You know, we should pay our way just like everybody else.
In January, the Columbia Disabilities Commission passed a motion supporting metering disabled parking spaces. An estimated $80,000 will be needed to add curb ramps, signs, and paint along Broadway and purchase parking meters. Half of the cost will come from the commission's budget.
It's been difficult for people who want to go shopping in downtown businesses because of some of the very hilly areas in the 9th Street area. And so I think it's actually going to benefit businesses as much as it will people with disabilities who want to shop there.
Adding parking meters to these spaces may also prevent disabled parking fraud. Graham said this happens somewhat often, but is hard to enforce. Now, meters have changed since they were banned in 1994. You don't have to pinch and twist a knob anymore, so they're much easier to operate. Officials say they don't think the new meter should cause any difficulty to disabled drivers. ABC 7.
Lindsay Burning reporting there live. And cities like St. Louis, Washington, D.C., and Indianapolis are just a few that recently began to require metered spaces for the disabled. Fees for parking tickets could also cost you more in Columbia in just a few hours. The City Council is holding a separate public hearing on that issue. The city manager wants to increase the fine by $5 if you forget to feed the meter. Tonight's big council meeting starts within an hour at City Hall. We, of course, have a reporter there, and we'll update you in our later newscasts. And a traffic alert for you tonight. Another major Columbia road is shutting down for nearly a month. Just 10 days after Scott Boulevard reopened, Vaughter School Road closes for the next 21 days. Crews are working to raise a 400-foot section of the road, making it a smoother transition to the roundabout. Officials say they couldn't do the work before because they had to keep Boone County Fire Station 14 open. And in just about 2 hours, road crews will get back to work on Providence. MoDOT officials tell us the intersection at South Providence and Buttonwood is so dangerous, they're making it so you can no longer keep making left turns there. The work first started last night.
Still to come on ABC 17 News at 6, where the news comes first.
As we reported to you, President Obama takes a hiatus from his vacation to address the unrest in Iraq and in Ferguson, Missouri. We'll have more details. And residents in Arkansas are evacuated after a train crash there. We'll show you what was on the trains that had authorities worried next. And coming up, new at 6:30 tonight, a new report shows raising a child costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's before college. We're looking into why having children has become so expensive. Coming up at the bottom of the hour. Tonight, President Obama is interrupting his vacation dealing with the crisis in Iraq. The U.S. military says the Iraqi government has not regained full control of the Mosul Dam from ISIS terrorists. So far, American airstrikes have helped Iraq gain more control of the structure. The dam is a major source of power and water, of course, for much of the nation. The president will head back to Martha's Vineyard tomorrow night. Right now, 2 Palestinian men accused of kidnapping and killing 3 Israeli teens are homeless. Israeli forces destroyed the homes while one other man connected to the killings has his home sealed off. More than 150 border policemen were at the scene today, along with dozens of Israeli soldiers. The teens, you may remember, were taken and killed back in June. An American just released from quarantine for a possible Ebola infection is headed to Atlanta to visit with his wife, who's also being treated for the deadly sickness. David Wright-Bull has his isolation lifted yesterday at Charlotte, North Carolina hospital where he was staying. His wife, Nancy, is still being quarantined at Emory in Atlanta. Both had worked in Liberia for a year at a clinic. Wright-Bull says his wife is continuing to gain strength. And 2 years after WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange says he's going to be leaving the Ecuadorian embassy in London. Assange stayed there to avoid extradition to Sweden on accusations of sexual assault. Today, he made the announcement, but is unclear about when he'll be leaving.
I am leaving the embassy soon. But perhaps not for the reasons that the Murdoch press and Sky News are saying at the moment.
Some reports say Assange is suffering from health problems. He gained national attention in 2010 when WikiLeaks released classified U.S. documents. Swedish prosecutors say they want to question him over allegations made by 2 former WikiLeaks volunteers. Tonight, 2 people are dead after a train crash in Arkansas. It happened around 3 Sunday morning. Some residents near the head-on crash were evacuated. Authorities worried some materials on board the cars could be hazardous. One witness said the accident sounded like a thunderstorm.
It was pretty bad. The one engine, when we first got there, was close to the highway. It was on fire, and then the other one was on the other side of the train track, and it was on fire. It was pretty bad. I mean, it was a mess.
Union Pacific Railroad officials say both trains had toxic chemical cargo.